yeah. This is the outline with Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne with Kevin Dwayne.
Hey guys, this is the Outline Podcast, and I am Kevin Dwayne. This is your weekly discussion of all things entertainment, LGBT culture, and a little bit of encouragement for everyone. First things first, I want to thank you all for the love on the 100th episode. The voice messages were amazing, but the outpouring of comments and tweets you guys sent me, I got a couple emails from people, the impact is not lost upon me. So even when I feel like I'm not doing anything, you guys make sure you make me feel like I am present and you guys are paying attention, and that means a lot. And that makes it so I give you more in the future. So with that said, I want to move into another great supporter of the show and a former guest, and I'm excited to have him again, Sensei Raven. I'm not even going to waste my time saying your last name.
Ekundayo.
Welcome back to the Outline Podcast.
Hey there, Outline family.
I feel like, it was over a year ago that you were on the show.
Yes.
Like over a year. So much has happened, I feel like.
So much. So much.
You have because you were just talking about the podcast.
Yeah.
And its inception, the healing space.
Yep.
Now, you guys are nearly a year in, right?
Absolutely. We're on right now. As of this recording, we just had episode 43.
Oh, yep. So, that's 2 months and you'll be at your...
Yeah.
So, in the healing space, I talk about it all the time on the show. I absolutely love the healing space.
Thank you.
It's needed, and you have your own little place as a mental health podcast.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. So, you have that. And then also... You're not working, and you're
so much has changed.
So how's that feeling with your being in Atlanta? And
it feels like, like I said on Facebook, and you and I were actually talking about this earlier. You brought it up. I'm now in my epilogue. It's like I went through this book, and as I came toward my last chapter, it felt like I was crawling toward the finish line. And in a sense, I still kind of am. But there are, right now there's reflection. I'm looking back over this last year. I'm looking back over what it is that I went through, how I endured. I'm looking at the people who have held me up, And as I'm entering into this, it feels funny even saying new position, because I feel like it's just the evolution of what I already do. Mm-hmm. It's like everything I do is wellness. And my podcast is about mental health. And now that is literally my career. So I look at all of this and I'm just thankful, because I kept feeling so bad for myself because I couldn't understand why I couldn't find a job, having no clue that the universe was conspiring to put me in what it is that I wanted all along.
You had to fire somebody so you can walk into that road. Sometimes you got to move people out the way.
You got to move people. I'll switch some things around. But yeah. It's an amazing place to be in. And as far as the healing space, I meant what I said last week on your anniversary. It's like, I'm so thankful for the outline. You've been an awesome blueprint for the healing space, And I really do consider the outline to be a big brother for us. You operate your podcast in such an awesome way, and you are so authentic and so true to your voice. And you don't bullshit around, and you are who you are, and that's the reason why you have the fan base that you have, So as a mental health podcast, if we can just have a little bit of that, of genuine people who just love what it is that we're talking about, we're going to be in such a wonderful place as you are,
Wow, thank you so much. And listen, y'all are definitely authentic, because and Brandon ain't about to act for nobody. Brandon is not about to play with none of y'all. You gotta will him in. No, it's all. You guys are a reflection. The Hill Place has me cracking up all the time. They don't mince words. Well, Raven will try. Because he believes in balance.
Right.
Brandon be like, if I don't like it,
I don't like it.
You can sit here and say it's pretty, put lipstick and high heels on it. But I don't like it. And, so,
and that is our balance completely.
And that's perfect of why I think this will be a great show. Well, first of all, you and I have wonderful chemistry. Like, alone.
Yes.
Like, we just finished doing yoga, and like, you and I talk during the time.
Right.
There's always these sound bites. I'm like, oh, that's so good. Oh, that's so
that could have
good.
been on the podcast
Easily. And then like with I asked Raven to be on the show, and I said, don't even worry about the topic, because you and I have like a laundry list of things that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Because we're always like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I love being on your show as well.
Absolutely.
So it's like a continuation. This is like every year we'll have our duet.
Right.
Every so often it's like, oh, okay, we gotta do. Some people they belong to do things together. So I was like, okay, it's time to have them on the show again. But also, speaking of balance and mindset, one thing that I've always enjoyed about our friendship is the freedom of it.
Right.
And like how we're able to be authentic with each other. Like, I don't have to change anything. I give you the real of how I'm feeling and what it is, and you are able to see it and not misconstrue it. Like, you get it.
Absolutely.
But also, I also enjoy your mindset of not being afraid to go against the grain on things.
Yeah.
And we definitely have that in common in so many different ways. So I wanted this show to be, to discuss that more.
Okay.
In different elements of life.
Right.
And we kind of just move through each of them. But my goal is to offer courage to listeners who are having a hard time finding their voice.
Yeah.
And so that's my goal. So we'll do a nice little inventory by the end of the show, see if
right.
we get there. But I think this will be a great time to really talk about the journey with that and figure it out. So we'll start right at the top of, I'm just doing a little grab bag here.
Okay.
Let's start with religion. It's a big one. I know you and I have talked about religion, and they're like just over and over again. And we have differing views, but common views and things like that. But let's just talk about the journey of it.
Yeah.
Like, we can start with you, obviously, because I've talked about mine, but I'll refresh.
Okay.
But like, what has been your, just from childhood, and give me your overview of religion.
Okay. It's funny. We were actually just talking about this in my training class for my new journey. We were talking about religion, and it was funny because in that training class, we talked about all of the no-nos. We talked about sexuality, politics, and religion, all the things you're supposed to leave alone. But it showed a lot about us, because in the end, we were like, well, we all respected each other, and that's very rare to have 19 people from such different backgrounds, and we all can respect one another even if we don't agree. So that was refreshing. But with my, as far as my journey with religion, I come from, a Baptist family, Christian. And my family started out not being super religious. My grandmother never was. My grandmother wasn't someone who believed in God, but she was never a huge church-going person. My family, I remember as a kid, I may have been in church a handful of times, but Jesus was someone who was spoken of in my household, but it was never like, church, you have to go and all that stuff. It just wasn't us. I remember when I was around 11 years old, I started going to church with my fourth grade teacher. Is that the right age? 11? Or would I have been younger than that?
Probably a little younger.
Okay. So whenever fourth grade was when I was going to church with my fourth grade teacher. And her name was Miss Hetrick. I'll never forget her. And her best friend's name was Deborah. And I don't remember what her last name was.
Teachers always have complicated ass names, but they always have a little
right.
Mrs. Luca, a Renteria, Darrensburg. Where are these names at now? Where are these names at now?
Wow, for that last one.
Darrensburg, Mrs. Finley. Where did these names go? Did they disappear? Like, we don't have these names.
Because trust me, Hetrick wasn't easy to spell, for real. It's not spelled how it sounds at all. But yeah, she was Hazen.
Yeah, Mr. Hazen.
Oh.
What happened to the old elementary school names? Did we fade them out?
Yes, did we? I can't.
Anyway, continue.
But yeah, so it was a situation. She was a white teacher, and she took on me and these three brothers. And so it was so wonderful because everyone's like, our parents were very comfortable with it. We'd be at her house just hanging out and everything, she got us pets, all that. Like, it was a really unique but beautiful, like, we were all in her wedding. She got married and moved away to South Carolina, and we were in her wedding. So it was awesome. We all played different roles and stuff. I was the ring bearer, It was really cute. But anyway, so I went to church with her, and it was a Baptist church, but it was, like Asian, black, white, Latino. Like, it was very interesting how mixed it was for me to be so young, because it wasn't something I saw all the time at that age. So it was really cute. I even had a little white girlfriend.
That's how it starts. She ain't gonna be as on you.
I can't.
That's how it starts.
Her name was Tiffany. I still remember that.
Of course it was.
I can't. But yeah, so I went on that journey. And I think what I was thinking, when I think of 11, I think 11 was when I stopped. That's what it is. 11 was when I stopped going to church. Because at 11 was when I began to question. So I started the journey of questioning, and that took me clear through high school as I began to experiment with different religions. Because in my mind, with my experience with that church, mind you, in that church, there wasn't any hating. There wasn't any condemning of gays or anything like that. Nice. It's just that for me, my thing was, first of all, I was bored there. Because with it being a church where it was a white minister, there wasn't the whole, like loud music and clapping and stuff. So I was like, okay, this is boring.
I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises.
I can't.
I'm so glad you're in
doing
my life.
This air banjo or guitar right now.
I used to go to the same type of church. I'm triggered, actually. Ooh, I'm triggered. Continue.
But yeah, so I left when she moved. Because after she moved to South Carolina, it was just like, oh, okay, I was starting to question things anyway. So I went through this journey where, it was Islam, Buddhism, all that stuff. I went to mosque. And when I went to mosque, I actually liked it more than going to Baptist church. Mind you, there was no longer music, but there was so much intellect and so much talk about different things that were going on. However, there it was a thing as far as homosexuality. So I was like, damn it, because every other thing was awesome,
close.
Right.
Did anyone ever question you? Because I remember being in college and going to a church that was one of the Unitarianism.
Yeah.
And then my mom was all like, that's a cult. Why are you going there? Those people ain't going to heaven. It was and I'm just all like, it's so funny that one part, it's so my frustration ultimately, which I'll expand on a little bit more, is just I saw a meme the other day. It's there's roughly 2,500 gods. And I say, I don't believe in none of them, but you believe in 2,499.
Right.
But it's what's the difference there? It's so how do you at one religion have the nerve to say all the other ones are wrong?
Listen,
right?
Facts.
And so it was my first time feeling that, of being huh?
Yeah.
So did you ever get, when you switched over from going to a Baptist church to going to, did anyone kind of be like, oh no, you can't do that?
Oh, absolutely. That one person was my mother.
Oh.
So we're having, we're having Thanksgiving dinner, and we began to pray. And of course, my praying looks different now. So once we say grace and everything, my mom looks at me and she's like, what is all of this about? And this is why I love my sister. My sister and I are quite different. Growing up, I was always really quiet and shy. My sister, I was the quiet and shy Scorpio. She was the outgoing and loud Sagittarius. So I kind of went, right, listen. So I went into myself when my mother asked me that question, because I still hadn't yet gotten to the point. I think I was maybe around 17 years old. So I hadn't gotten to the point yet where I had enough backbone to really speak up for myself. But my sister did. And my sister was like, what are you talking about? She said, you used to be a Muslim. You went through this entire period when you were younger. You told me about it. I've seen pictures. So why are you asking him this? That was something you experienced. Mind you, at this point, my family was deep into the church. Okay. So the fact that my sister was as deep as she was and defended me like that made me feel good, and I really appreciated that. But it started getting to the point, and I mean, to this day, I still feel separated. I never felt like a black sheep in my family until they got deeply into religion. Because once they got really deep into religion, I started noticing huge differences between us. I'm not sure, my sister and I haven't talked about it in the last few years, but my niece and my nephew weren't allowed to watch movies like Harry Potter and stuff like that, Lord of the Rings. because all of that stuff was considered demonic.
Oh, we boycotted it.
Are you serious?
Like, do not take your kids. I was just like, and I didn't care. I just
Right.
started watching Harry Potter. Back then, I'm like, take it away.
Right.
I don't care. But, oh no, people were taking the books away from their kids.
Yeah.
I was like, this seems extra for some magic. Like my friend, she couldn't watch Charmed or Sabrina. She couldn't watch Sabrina at the teenage goddamn. Girl, that is the cleanest damn show ever. Nope, that's demonic. Is it?
But my thing is, the same people who say that believe in talking snakes and a man who can walk on water.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very strange to me.
And raping and pillaging entire
Listen.
people. So yeah.
Listen. So my journey was very much one where I loved my mother because my mother taught me to question. And that's one thing I can say. I appreciate, even though I love who she is now, I like that she does her best to navigate Christianity in a positive way. What I can say is that I'm glad I grew up in my formative years with a woman who wasn't deeply entrenched in religion, because she taught me to question everything, and she said, God wants you to. So don't listen to people who tell you don't question stuff, because you should. So that's what led me to wanting to study so many different books, So it ended up making me, I consider myself to be a very well-rounded individual, because I didn't believe that it was something as simple as sticking with one thing. Because I feel like if I would have stuck with one thing, I would kind of be ignorant to the world. And it makes it easier for you to judge if you don't attempt to understand,
It provides this weird safety and ignorance.
Listen.
It drives me insane, because you don't want to take that leap and just learn. You're holding on to that so that you can also, it's just.
But what you just said is important. What you just said, you don't want to take that leap.
Mm-hmm.
You spoke a word without even realizing it. That is literally the definition of faith. Listen.
Hey, that's real. Yeah, that's literally. But people actually aren't doing it. They'll only do it for that one.
Exactly.
Thing. Yeah.
Exactly. So you're not practicing faith. You're practicing fear.
Yeah. And on top of that, though, if you wouldn't that strengthen, I think it would strengthen your belief if you
absolutely
sought out other things and learned about them.
Yes.
And be like, oh, okay, yeah.
It makes for a stronger foundation.
Yeah, but instead it becomes that's what always frustrated me the most about churches, because it was always self-prophesying. It was always like, oh, you can't do this because the Bible said it. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, God did it because the Bible said, oh, this because the church said, because I'm like, but this is all circular.
Listen.
None of this actually has any, especially like the infallible word of God. And this is not, once again, I want to say, this is not to bash
absolutely
Christianity. I respect anyone's belief system, because I believe that we all are looking for some way to make it through.
Listen, fact.
And a lot of the tenets are great. There are a lot of things that come from it. The faith, the joy, the hope, the treating others as yourself. Those are the tenets. But the problem is people miss that in sake of sending people to hell.
Listen.
People get so caught up in hell, they're not focused on the actual tenets of Christianity.
Come on.
And being Muslim. Like, all the religions have all these tenets.
Right.
But people are ignoring those.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest gripe. But one of the things about, drove me crazy is about the infallible word of God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, of course a word is infallible when no matter what happens, you know how to reroute that bitch like ways.
Right.
Like, if I'm praying, and Lord forbid, so you have someone who's in a hospital, you're saying, Lord, heal them.
Right.
If they become healed, God healed them.
Yeah.
If they die, it was God's will.
Right.
There's no way to really, when you're rerouting it, to always work in this weird favor.
Right.
How is that even it? That drove me crazy.
Yeah, understandably.
How about just wish for the best?
Listen.
Wish for that person to be in their right mind. Wish that person to be free of pain.
Yeah.
Whether here or not. Wish goodness. Have positivity for the family in their time of stress.
Right.
Versus making it this magic trick that's happening, and no matter what, it's like watching a real magic show, and no matter what, woo, and that drove me crazy.
Yeah,
and
there are a lot of people who attempt to forego the work, and I'm like, I consider that to be very lazy.
No,
absolutely
lazy. Don't tell me you're gonna pray for me when you can actually come here and help
listen.
Me.
Yeah,
like I pray you get those volunteers, bitch. I'm looking at one right goddamn now. Like, oh my God.
But that's also the reason why at Day's End, even though I believe that I consider myself to be someone who takes different parts from different faiths.
Same.
I lean, my foundation is Buddhism. And the reason why it's my foundation is because I feel like that is, and it's not really a religion, you know. I consider Buddhism to be more a way of life.
It's just like yoga. Yoga is not a religion.
Right. Right.
Shout out to all you Christians who won't do yoga.
Listen,
you feel like
that's so confusing to me. That's so confusing. What do you mean it's demonic?
People feel like the meditation.
Oh my goodness.
To center yourself and clear your mind is demonic.
Because you don't want to be centered. You like being off key.
You don't want to be centered in Jesus.
But yet you don't even know who he is. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Once again, we're not bashing.
It's not bashing at all.
But
we can only come from what it is we were raised in.
Yeah.
Now it would be different if we were raised Muslim.
Yeah.
Then the conversation would be totally different. True. You know. But it's like we were raised in Christianity, so this isn't bashing. We're speaking out against. I'm not against. We're speaking out towards what it is we were raised in.
Yeah.
You know. So I love, and I mean, I'm even a Buddhist sensei, ordained. You know. And I went in that direction because I love the constant speak of love and that it's not damning. So for those who are listening to the outline right now, you know, I respect so much the fact that Kevin makes sure that he keeps letting you guys know this isn't bashing. But the truth is that those out there who are doing the bashing need to understand that that's not how you bring or keep people in Jesus's love and God's love. This you can't continue to operate out of fear and letting people know that according to what it is they do and don't do, they're going to a fiery pit. Yeah. Why don't we focus more on what you're going through right now? How did you get there? Well, let's have a conversation about that. You know, I'm not perfect either. So what I'm going to do is love you through whatever it is that you're going through, you know, instead of it being like, oh, because it's very elitist, you know, it's very, you're not as good as I am.
That's exactly what it is. And
you
like,
know,
we talked about this over and over again. If you people will be more mad about you taking away hell than heaven. Listen, we can remove,
fact.
We can remove heaven right now and say you just gonna die, but these people gonna burn. That's fine.
Right, that's fine.
But if it's the opposite way, no, everybody can't be in heaven with me. Mm-hmm. That's really what it is. It's all elitism. Yeah. Everybody want to put someone in this place where they feel like they can feel better, and also it makes people inactive now. Yes. People are lazy now because they feel like, well, after this life, I'm going to get all these riches and all these things and all these things. It's crazy to think. But they feel that way, so they don't do anything now. Yeah. But then also that intense belief in God without work. Because here's the thing, like, you know, I still believe in a God. I still believe in the universe taking action. Absolutely. And I do believe that when you put out your intention and work, yes, the opportunity meets you, and that is beyond this world. Yes, that is literally an act of God. Right. So I know that there's something working in favor in that way. Yes, but you have to do your work. There's too many people sitting down, eating poorly, doing crazy things. Yeah. And then just looking like, it's going to come. I need God to just heal me and make this right. Right. Like, that's not how this works. Yeah. And a lot of things are cause and effect. Mm-hmm. I'm so sick of people making decisions and then saying the devil after the decision has yielded its consequence. Yeah. Like, you drove 85 on the freeway in a 55 zone. Right. You got pulled over because you got pulled over. Yeah. Has nothing to do with the devil. Right. Listen. Has nothing to do with Jesus. Listen. It was you made a decision and it happened. And these are the consequences. Right. That's it. Plain and simple. That is it. Stop blaming the devil. Like, we all make mistakes. But we also make a lot of good decisions too. Yeah. It's the balance of life. It's called living. Right. You get lessons from it. Don't make this an evil versus good thing. Yeah. We're all capable of doing both good and evil, period. Yeah. It's not something on our shoulder edging us either way. Absolutely. And it just, I'm going to say something really controversial real quick. Go for it. Because it's something I was thinking of when I was driving home the other day. And I told myself maybe I'll say it on Facebook, but this is the perfect opportunity because of the conversation that we're having right now. So I want people to hear me, to not immediately, you know, prayerfully not to feel triggered and immediately jump, but to actually listen to what I'm about to say. So I find that there are people who constantly come out against Lucifer, who are constantly damning Satan and talking about how, you know, you're going to go to hell and all of these things. But
if you sit and think to yourself for a minute, how many times have you met someone who was a part of a satanic cult who talked about you were going to go to hell for being gay? You know, how often have you found people who are a part of satanic or demonic cults who are going out into the community and attempting to kill people in the name of Satan? You know, however,
that would feel hell quicker, wouldn't it?
Listen,
Yeah.
However, you think about Christianity and you think about Muslims and Islam and how often people are killed in the name of Muhammad or Jesus. How you're going to hell for being gay, you know? How slaves were brought over here with the Bible used on them. You feel me? So I'm saying that I think it's very interesting that people take this, and again, no offense, I believe that Lucifer is a made-up character, but people take this character and use him to put fear in everyone, but yet you people who consider yourselves to be the true people, you know, the number one religion in the world, are the ones who are bringing hell on earth towards others. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. You're making people fear demonic cults and all of those things, but at the end of the day, aren't you exactly what it is you're telling people to fear?
I ain't met one Satanist in my 32 years of life.
Listen.
I met a lot of Christians, okay? A whole lot. A whole lot. I can go outside right now.
Right now, listen.
Take a piss and hit one. Like, so yeah. I agree. Yeah, it's just it's sad, but it comes from a place of like, I get religion from the standpoint of just needing that extra, that faith, that hope. Like, it feels good.
Absolutely,
you feel covered. But when it moves over into that elitism, that I'm this, you're not, that's where it gets dangerous. Not kind of, it gets dangerous.
Absolutely,
too many people have died at the hands of Christians who are just trying to do right by their God, which doesn't make sense.
None whatsoever.
Especially when you're hurting your own family.
Listen, you're guided by fear, not by faith.
Literally, and it literally works just like pathology. It's just passed down with no one questioning up. I've heard so many stories of people being whipped and flogged because they question God. I'm like, but nowhere in that Bible does it say don't question God.
Listen,
I don't understand a world where a God would give you a working brain and say don't use
Hello?
it. What sense does that make? Like, and you'll meet Christians or people who are religious, who will go through life, go to colleges, get all the insignias, all the shit.
Absolutely.
Be smart as hell, but dumb themselves down for the sake of religion. I'm just like, but your brain knows how to connect these pieces. Yeah. Like, you're a biochemist. Yeah. How do you not... You can't carry the two with the fact that you can't put a bunch of animals on a boat built by one man and the animals don't kill and shit on each other? I want to know how you put an elephant, a tiger, and a jaguar on a boat and it's safe. They didn't talk about cages. No. They didn't talk about nothing. And then who kept the roaches? Who said we need to bring the roaches over? Why the roaches couldn't drown? I'm dead serious. Why did no one keep the roaches? Child. Well, we'll end that. So, okay. But I think you hit the point that I want to make. It's okay to question things. Yeah. Don't ever feel for the sake of, I know with tradition and family, a lot of times people just stay in line because they don't want to lose people. Right. That's really what it is. It comes down to, my family's Christian. This is the only way I can keep peace in my house. Yes. If I continue to please their way of life. But sometimes for you to be happy for yourself and not be a martyr to your family, you gotta be like, this is not for me.
This is not for me.
And
listen.
I feel a lot of people, now, don't get me wrong, there are people who are devoted, and that's fine. Yeah. But there are so many people who aren't. And they're there just because they don't want to lose their Thanksgiving and their Christmas. And they don't want to know what it's like to not have a support system in that way. Yeah. And I get it. But if something is causing you to not be happy and also puts you into a depression,
Right.
it's time to question and move forward.
And if you really want to genuinely walk like Jesus, do that. Don't just provide lip service, you know? I consider my father to be a true Christian. He's someone who's constantly, I believe I told you, you know, he's 22 years clean. He has spent those 22 years constantly going out to meeting, speaking across the country to people about his journey and how he stayed clean to help others to be clean. That's the work of Jesus.
Yeah.
You feel me? So I'm like, if you're going to go out and actually attempt to walk that walk, do it. Don't talk about it. Don't damn others. Like, be about actually wanting to put good into the world. That's true Christianity.
Christianity,
You know?
that's real. And I think that's what it comes down for me too. I don't care what religion you're in, because I don't hate
Exactly.
anything.
Yep.
But what good are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
What are you actually doing? Because I know for me, my personal story is when I left Christianity is when I started doing stuff.
Mhm.
I started volunteering. I started giving money to relief efforts. I started actually doing stuff.
Right.
Whereas before I was just praying.
Yes.
And just not doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I always found that was so interesting. And then I always say the biggest confirmation of making the right decision was I was still getting the same, if not better, results.
Yeah.
Because we're always told that if you get out of God's favor, you know, oh, it's going to be a plague on you and stuff like that.
Right.
So I had a fear too. But then after a while, I was like, oh, wow, I'm still getting these blessings, quote unquote.
Yes.
You know, I'm still like reaping what I sow in a good way. I put positivity out, I got positivity back.
Yeah.
I'm like, I still have love. I still have great friendships. I have people understand me. I'm like, oh, wow. Because the fear was, no, I was going to be homeless on the street.
Right.
In the corner because I decided to turn my back on Jesus. I was just like, wow. So that was a fear. It was literally a fear. And then also in circular reasoning, the Bible says that anyone, because, you know, the blasphemy, the ultimate blasphemy is speaking that God doesn't exist. Or something like that.
Right.
And the whole idea is that he'll harden your heart so that you'll never come back. And so I had that, like, oh my God, like, is this my heart hardening because I don't believe it anymore? And I'm
Right.
like, no, you just got some common goddamn sense. Like, I had Kevin, the other Kevin, Kevin was like, the real Kevin was like, no, you just got some sense.
Yeah.
Bro. Like,
yeah.
come on now, Eve got a belly button. How she got a belly button? Why Eve got a belly button? Why Eve got a belly button? Who had her?
Who had her?
Who had her? Listen, when Cain killed Abel and he was cast out with his wife, who the wife? Who the wife? These are real life questions.
No, they're real life questions. They are.
You mean to tell me
They are.
They had a sister or something?
Uh-huh.
And then, like, so he took his little sister?
I need you to understand. It took so very little of getting through Genesis for me to have an attitude.
Right.
'Cause I was like,
So y'all like incest, but y'all don't like gay people.
listen.
Like and it never ends. Like, I just go through the entire I went through the entire Bible and was like, this makes no sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so if I get raped, the punishment of the man is to marry me? What? So I gotta look at this motherfucker for the rest of my life after
Listen.
he raped me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No. So, any final thoughts on religion before we move on?
I'm sorry. You said on religion. I was about to go to the Bible. Patriarchal manipulation. But
All of it.
If you can allow yourself, first you have to start with you. If you can free your mind and allow yourself to operate within your religion from a place of love and acceptance, then you're on the right path. If you operate out of fear and making others fear, then you're not doing it right, and you need to give it up.
Give it up, turn it loose.
Listen.
Hey, come on, In Vogue had a word. When you have a breakup, give it up, turn it loose will get you together.
That was several In Vogue songs. 'Cause I'm sitting there like, free your mind?
Listen,
Yes,
and
listen.
The rest will follow. Hey! I felt that in my Sean Doe.
You did. You did.
My God. So in polar opposites, let's talk about sex.
Ooh, great follow-up. Yes.
Sex and religion are just
Yes.
Everybody fucking.
Listen.
Everybody fucking.
I don't know why that made me think of everybody mad.
Everybody fucking. Everybody fucking. I was getting to the pussy.
I wish they could have seen you dancing just now, though. He was getting it. Oh, he was getting it. Yes, Beyonce would be proud.
But sex. So sex is another thing that I feel that people are very limited in. And I think that's why I had like the Sex of Souls and we had your Healing Through Sex.
Yeah.
And it's important to talk about it because you have to remove that taboo.
Absolutely.
And you can't be afraid of going against the grain.
Yeah.
And once again, I know you and I are always talking about experiences that took us outside of the traditional way of how things are supposed to be.
Right.
You recently talked about your experience with the leather community.
Yeah.
And how it was just like, it opened your eyes to new things. Like, oh, wow, this is kind of cool. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is not as jarring as people would think I would think it would be. Because you have this idea. And it comes down to this. It's a lot of closet freaks out there.
Absolutely.
Lots. I hate that the word freak is applied to it because it has this idea of abnormal.
Right.
But I have a personal belief that everyone has their own fetish.
Yes, I agree.
Whether it's outwardly or not, everybody has something. Whether you into ankles, you know,
come on, ankles. Yeah.
Adam's apples. I don't know.
Right.
The inside creases of the knee. I don't know. Like people are into different things, but I think the goal is not to be afraid of that, and explore it. Because as me, who very sexually liberal, not hiding behind it, I don't give a fuck about all that shit that people try to apply to people who are free in sex. I have experienced levels of pleasure that I thought to myself, "Oh my God, there's someone who's missing out on this."
Okay.
There's someone who will never know what it's like to get to this level of pleasure.
Right.
All because of their mindset that sex is wrong, it's nasty, only needed for procreation.
Right.
And these whole things that we attach to sex.
Yeah.
And when I talk about sex on the show all the time, I always lead with be safe.
Yeah.
That's really all it boils down to. When you boil down to safe practices and always making sure you're getting tested and having conversations surrounding preventative measures.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
The rest, have fun. Do what it is you do. And get out there and explore things. But what has been your experience with just sex in the mindset? That'll be the name of it. Sex in the mindset.
Sex in the mindset. Yes. So as a Scorpitarius, as a Scorpio and Sagittarius, I am a highly sexual being. And when I say highly, I mean highly. Like when I have conversations with people and they tell me about when they first started being sexually active, I'm like, oh, I have a smooth like 2 decades on you. Like I started being sexual in my 1 digits. Like, ooh, real talk. Like, I had friends. We lived in Baltimore, and the girl in our group, because I think it was, 4 boys and 1 girl, she had brought a book on sex to us that she got from her mother's bedroom. Ooh. And we're, like, looking at it and everything. I think we may have been, like, around 8 or 9 years old. We're, like, looking through the book and everything. And I'll never forget that with some of those boys, mind you, all of them are heterosexual now, or so, you know, whatever. I don't know their personal lives, but as far as I know, they're heterosexual. But I would do strip teases for them. Oh. Listen, I would come into the bedroom with my towel on when I get out the shower, do little dances for them and stuff. If my mother hears this, she would die. Like, but listen. Hey, little mama. Why you get so funky? Yeah. Come on, Funky Watusi. Yes. Oh my God. Wow, you took it back. Wow.
I just imagine some teas being appropriate. You know, we got this to our music.
And I remember with one of the boys, there was one night we were in his house and Push It came on by Salt and Pepper. And we were like freaking these pillows next to each other and stuff.
Oh, the good old days.
Listen, we were so sexual.
I miss the innuendo of like adolescence.
Yeah, very much so.
It was so you were dumb as fuck.
Yes,
but it was also just fun because it was kind of the taboo.
Yeah, it was a rush that came with it. It
like,
really was.
Yeah. But continue.
And so it was like I had this great relationship with my mom where I could talk to her about anything. My dad and I never really talked about that kind of stuff. But my dad came into action because he was the person I got all my porn from. So when he wasn't looking, I would go into the bedroom and take the porn and watch it. And I was good with mine because I'd watch it and rewind it right back to the moment that he left it on.
I
But
used to just steal my porn. I used to, so a lot of my brothers live, not a lot, like 3 of my brothers live with my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mom / aunt,
Right.
so people understand that we would go visit. I knew they had porn.
Right.
And they was never home. So I would wear my baggy ass pants and I would go in that room like, oh yeah, I'm gonna slip in there. And I would have VHS tapes up to my thighs in my jeans or whatever. I come out, I'd be like, and I always go to my dad.
Right.
You know, he was none the wiser.
Right.
So I'd be like, hey, I left something in the car. Can I go? And he'd be like, oh yeah. So I opened the car and I would unload them under his seats.
oh my
I
God.
would unload them under his seats. Sometimes
You had a whole plan.
Sometimes I would do both seats. Sometimes
Wow.
I would clean them out.
They never wondered where the...
But what they gonna do? They gonna tell grandma? What they gonna do? It was like dealing drugs. How you gonna get it back? What you gonna say?
How?
What you gonna say? How you gonna get it back? Huh? Tell me. I wasn't shit. I go home and be jacking off for the next
Oh my God.
2 years. Anywho.
But yeah, so my mom and I had this very open relationship when it came to communication. Yeah. I could talk about anything. So it's like I was kissing girls at like 5 years old. So the kissing, that happened long ago. My first time tongue kissing a girl was the most popular girl in school. And it was funny because in school, I was this very, I wouldn't necessarily say quiet because I was on all the contests, the reading contest, math contest, all that stuff. But I kind of kept to myself. So I was in this very weird place of girls finding me attractive, but me kind of being nerdy. I was a goody two-shoes, like to the highest level. I was teacher's pet. So I always found it funny that the most...
hard to believe. I mean, you're not really dropping bombs right now.
But I always found it funny that the popular girls wanted to be with me, you know? So I got with the most popular girl in school.
Maybe that nerd dick was lit. Take them glasses off, beat that pussy up.
Anyway, so we ended up tongue kissing, and I tongue kissed for the first time behind because my grandmother lived across the street from my elementary school. So we were out back, and she and I tongue kissed for the first time, and I'm all excited. I go tell my mom about it and everything, and she was like, "So what was the experience like?" and all that stuff. So we talk about that, and so I go to school the next day, and everybody's calling her shit breath, and I'm sitting there like, "Wait, what?" So they were like, I found out that the guy who was supposed to be the most popular guy in school found out that we tongue kissed the day before. Mm-hmm. So he went spreading rumors about how he had kissed her first and how her breath stank. Oh. And I was like, so this excitement I had about kissing the most popular girl in school went down real quick because they brought her down several pegs. So yeah.
Sidebar. Mm-hmm. Parents teach your boys how to handle rejection. Cause y'all got some grown ass men who act like that. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Your feelings hurt. Now you gotta spread rumors.
Right. I was like, what? Mind you, this is elementary school, mind you. So I'm like, wow.
Trash.
But to speed ahead quickly, like, yeah, sex has always been, I don't know, again, being the Scorpio side of me, sex is damn near a religious experience for me, you know? Like, sex is deep, which is the reason why, with me being verse, it's very few people I've let in me, because I know how my connection can be. So when I'm being penetrated, it's like, even though she was considered to be crazy as hell, have you ever seen Vanilla Sky? A Tom Cruise movie with Cameron Diaz.
I remember very, very well, but I never saw it because Cameron Diaz boys look like
Which
so was Tom Cruise.
I was about to say, you better think about everybody. She had such a classic line to me that I tell people all the time, you know? She's like, mind you, she's losing her mind at the time. It's being this huge car crash and everything. But anyway, so while they're in the car together, she's yelling at Tom Cruise and she's talking about when you have sex with someone, when you enter them, you're making a promise to them, you know? And I very much think that way. It's like when you're entering me, I let dudes know. Like there was one guy I had sex with. Come to find out he was having sex with me to get to somebody else. So I'm really glad that I spoke up the way I did. Before he penetrated me, I said, I want you to listen close. If you're going to put that inside of me, you're going to be my friend for the rest of my life. So he looked really confused at first. And I was like, okay, I can understand why you'd be confused. I said, but be clear, you don't get to leave my life after you do it. So be sure.
Booty. Yeah.
Not magic booty.
He was like, listen. He was like, ain't no going back.
Yeah.
Ain't no going back. We friends forever. Forever.
But yeah, it ended up happening. Like, not only did we remain friends to this day, but I became his PR rep, like all that stuff. Like, it was like, yeah, this is real. So I absolutely, I was having a conversation with somebody earlier who was talking about how sex isn't really important to them. They can or can't have it. And I'm like, sex doesn't make the world go around for me. I love intimacy more, but I'm not going to front. Sex needs to happen. I'm not going to be in a relationship where sex isn't taking place.
That's one of the biggest thing, and I think that's perfect. Perfect. Because I think that's what it is. Not enough importance is actually placed on sex.
Right. Because
of romanticism, we have this idea that sex is actually not that important.
Right.
It's really about the person and stuff like that. That's cute.
Right.
Really cute. But it's about balance.
Yeah. Listen.
You can't have one without the other. And we keep having this idea. And this is why so many people work so hard, fuck the shit out of people to get them.
Yeah.
They get that ring, get that contract, let themselves go, stop fucking them.
Right.
And dare them to cheat. And you're like, what kind of conundrum is this? Like, what is this? Like, that's not how this works. It's always going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Because it's a part of our nature.
Absolutely.
Just like love is. So
yeah.
it's kind of like you can't remove the two.
Exactly.
And we got to get out of that. And I think that by loosening the views of sex, it will help.
Right.
Removing the taboo.
Absolutely.
Removing the limited ideas on what sex means to different genders.
Absolutely. Listen.
All of these things, because like I said, there are people out there having, like the person that you said, that they can go without it because they're having terrible fucking sex. I mean that shit.
Yeah,
Probably, their sexual experience are probably linked to trauma.
Yes.
Or linked to disappointment.
Very much.
Selfishness.
Yes.
Having a lover who doesn't give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
But they haven't actually been brought to a pleasure.
Right.
To a point where you're like, oh my God. Because once you have that,
you
ain't never going to say I can go without it.
Very much so.
I need it often.
Yeah.
Most of the times when I get fucking good, it's like, so you free in 2 days?
Right.
And not to even be together, just to get the experience again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you spoke of trauma earlier, and that's an important one because I know way too many queer people who have experienced trauma when it comes to sex. And, I think it was like episode 3 of Healing Space where we talked about healing through sexual assault. And it's real. And it's so hard to escape in our community. It's it's almost every other person you date is going to share with you a traumatic experience they had when it comes to sex. And it's interesting to navigate. I can only speak from my experience. It's interesting to navigate because you can't tell a person when to come up out of it, It's completely up to them. However, I can say that a lot of people have Stockholm syndrome when it comes to their pain,
Say it.
And it gets to a point where they have become so comfortable in existing there. And this is across the board, even though we're specifically talking about sex. They get so comfortable in being there that they don't realize they're foregoing their own happiness because of it. Yeah. So there are people who are genuinely willing and ready to take care of your body, to treat it as it should have been treated all along, But you have become so used to using this as a shield, and your pain is a comforter to you that you're afraid to take it off, So on the hand of those of us who are more sexually liberated, we have to be able to have the patience. But again, and I love you use my favorite word so much, balance. We have to also have them understand that there's a balance. We are here for you. We're showing up for you, but you can't think that we're bad people, because it's not just men. You can't think we're bad people if we decide to move forward. We have that right as well.
Right.
You have the right to tell people they have to wait because it's a journey for you, but we're on a journey as well.
Yeah.
Sex is an experience for us too. And for you, it's a traumatic experience, but for us, it's a beautiful journey,
right.
And it's something that we take pleasure in and we have fun with. We shouldn't be shamed because we feel that way.
Right.
We have to respect you, but you got to respect us too,
That's so real. And I think like sex is like, that's literally the closest you can be to someone. Like you're in them.
Listen.
You know what I mean? And it is, and yes, there is like, people talk about like soul ties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that because of my own belief system.
Right,
and
right.
I do believe in energies exchange.
Absolutely, yeah.
But as far as like dwelling forever, nah.
Right.
I don't do all that shit. You get you some sage. I don't know. like, figure that out amongst yourselves. But I do believe in the energy in that moment.
I'm sorry, I just had the nastiest thought. I just imagined you taking the smudging your asshole.
Platinum on it. Work it out. You be good. Listen, smudge that hole.
Hashtag smudge the hole. Yes.
You gotta take self-care.
That is pure self-care right there, boy.
That's how you get rid of them soul ties.
We didn't help somebody today.
We did.
That's a healing word right there.
It's the goal. That's the takeaway. But yeah, sex. But like some of my greatest like a lot. Hell, sadly, not sadly, but like you said, like with connections and stuff.
Yeah.
Like even with like, I don't know, like not necessarily. They'll never use sex as a tool.
Right.
Never use it as a tool or even as a way to come up. But there's something about it that's just like so dope.
Yeah.
And like, for me, sex is sacred, but not in the way of like, oh, just one person.
Mm-hmm.
If I had sex with just one person, knowing what I know now,
Yes.
Oh my God, what a ripoff.
Yeah.
What a fucking... Dicks have different sizes for a reason, guys. Butts are different for a reason.
Yeah.
Tongues are different for a reason. Hands are different for a reason.
Listen.
Like, for a reason. And until you've had like a threesome...
Come on.
Plus. Like, do you know what it feels like to have both of your nipples licked on at the same time? Can't do that with one person.
Can't do that.
You just can't do it.
Or getting head from two people. Oh my God, that thing is.
It's just.
You know, it's about heaven.
Listen, it's teamwork.
Listen, and it makes the dream work.
Man,
Makes the ass work, but yeah,
all that. That's what I'm saying. Like, so that's what I'm saying. But these experiences, though, and like I've never seen them as dirty or wrong. I'm like, no, I'm living the fullness.
Listen,
of life.
That right there, the fullness of your life.
Fullness of life.
Come on,
I'm experiencing, but even with like fetishes and stuff like that, and just looking into other things and being like, oh, this is kind of cool, and just the exhilarating nature of it all. So dope. And just seeing like how, like, for instance, like I was into spanking for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I think I talked about it on one of the sex episodes. I was just spanking for a while. I thought it was a cool little thing.
Yeah.
Of course, people thought it was just crazy. Like, how are you blacking into spanking? You didn't get whipped enough?
Wow.
Well, no, I didn't.
Right.
But
listen.
On top of that, it just kind of came upon me.
Yeah.
And so I got into. I had some experiences with that too. It was never penetrative or sexual.
Right.
There was never any semen.
Yeah. Exchange. Right. Yeah.
But it was still an experience that was like amazing.
Absolutely.
Because it was like a pass off. And we talked about this lightly too. In the Spain community, it's linked to BDSM and leather, but it's not. It's still its own entity.
Mm-hmm.
You know? They're like Viacom. And it's
VH1.
Yes. But what it was is like you have like the sir and the we still say bottom, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is what you're doing is you're passing off yourself to someone else.
Right.
And then what you're doing is you're creating a trust.
Yeah.
And it's saying, I trust you to take me to limits that I wouldn't get on my own.
Right.
And there's a pass off there. And there's a whole thing behind it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know that if you didn't experience it.
Exactly.
When I was looking in, it's like, you just don't lay there, let somebody hit you. That's crazy as fuck. Because you're not once again, we get so guarded by ignorance and we're afraid to take that leap to really learn. There's more to it than just taking a paddle and hitting someone.
There's so much more.
There's a whole nother thing that happens. And like, I thought the person that I used to experiment with, we would have like, I remember one day I went there, it was an early day. We thought we were like getting ahead of the day. Like, oh, I'll meet you at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
I didn't leave until like 5. Because we talked for about 4 and 5 hours before we even
did any of that.
Because it was just we enjoyed talking to one another. We enjoyed the conversation.
Your energy connected.
And it's like you and I.
Yeah.
But then instead of fucking, that's what we did.
Right.
There's no STDs. There's no. It was just, but it was still a connection. Yeah. And I'm like, someone's missing out on this.
Absolutely.
And the endorphin rush.
Come on.
Because another thing, because it's not even supposed to be like, fuck it.
Okay. Look, I'm here for it. Yes.
One thing about it is because people, especially with like spanking, I think people think that it's just literally like, they literally think it's like being whipped.
Right.
They think it's like being like bad and now you're being punished. No, that's not even it. It's literally about taking your body and your mind to a place of a crazy endorphin high.
Absolutely.
Crazy endorphin high.
Yeah.
And it's moderate. It's never just like lay down, pop, pop, pop. No.
Right.
No. There's actually patterns.
Right.
And there's techniques. And if you have a person who knows what they're doing, they do it in a certain way that takes you up higher and higher.
Yes.
It also tricks the mind. There's different ways. It's just like sex. When someone has good ass dick and knows their way around, it's not about just getting in there and just ramming.
Yeah.
It's about knowing what you're doing. And so what happens is you get to a place and your person is supposed to know your limit and take you just above it, not too far to where it'll fuck you up, but to a point of like, okay, I know this will get him where he needs to be. Yeah. And what amazed me, especially after like the second session, the first session was just like, oh, that was cute. Second session, I was like, oh wow. I remember on my way home, I felt like I just had sex. Mm-hmm. The same release, the same endorphin high, the same feeling of wellness. Yes. Came up. I was like, that is crazy as hell. Yeah. Neither one of us came. I've never even seen the man's dick. Wow. Never seen any part of his body or anything. Yeah. But there was still this kind of connection, though. I still had this kind of like, damn. Yeah. If I see him out ever, I'll be like, it's just that understanding of that connection that was there. Absolutely. And I'm like, in my mind, someone in the world, many people are missing out on these. Very much so. I'm not saying in spanking, but I'm saying by you not exploring sex more. Yes. Allowing for it to remain taboo to you. You're limiting very much really dope ass life experience. Yeah. That you're like, oh shit, this is here all this time. Think about the fact that I'm 38 years old and I'm just now experiencing things like leather and kink, And it's amazing. I'm sitting here like I'm 38 and for the very first time, somebody flogged me. And I'm like, I would have never, 2 years ago, I wouldn't have thought about that, And that's the reason why my friend, Sir Oya, that's the reason why he told me he was so proud of me. Because he's like, you're not afraid. You were so open to the idea of doing this. And I'm like, yeah, well, one, because I really trust you. He and I have been friends for years, but also because I'm up for so many things. Because I'm like, my thing is that if I don't experience it, then I don't know. For me, the whole thing is, with me, food is probably the only thing I do say no to. Everything else is like, let's go. So, and the rush that I got from it, the fact that pretty much every single thing we did, with the exception of being penetrated, of course, that's happened before, but everything else that was a part of it, I literally never experienced. I had never been flogged before. I'd never had anything other than a penis put in me before, It's all these different things. Having something vibrating inside me was an unbelievable experience. She's cute, right? Listen, the fact that he was constantly pleasing me, it's like while I have this thing going on inside of me, he's giving me head. When that's a whole new level of rush, and what you were talking about earlier, as far as people assuming that somebody whips you, they're just going in like, aftercare is real. Yeah. And it's something I learned about.
And he's coming over there to me, and because he was wondering why, because he said he was getting turned on by the fact that I never gave in. He said that's what was making him hard, was the fact that I never gave in. And I'm like, well, I didn't give in because of your aftercare. Every time it got to a point where you felt like I was taking too much from you whipping me, you would come over, and the way you held me and kissed on my neck and hugged me and made me feel like I was loved, Mentally, that took me somewhere else, and I came down. So it was a whole journey and experience. I know it had to be like a good smooth 2 to 3 hours that we were going at this.
That's what I'm saying. And that's an experience.
Yeah.
And I think too many people are out here having boring 10-minute sex.
Listen.
Where they're not getting their needs met at all with people that don't care about them.
Absolutely.
That's what makes it so badly. But it's also because of the weight that we treat sex.
Yeah.
So if you have... you can use man and woman, you can use top and bottom, whatever.
Right.
So you have a man or top or whatever. I don't want to compare the two. I hate it. We'll just use man and woman. You have a man. He has a taboo thing about sex. Sex is only supposed to be this, so I'm getting it on the low.
Right.
So naturally, he's going to try to rush and get that nut off.
Right.
It doesn't matter. So I don't have time to worry about the pleasure of a woman. She has a hole that feels good. I want to do
Yes.
that. You have a woman who is told that she can't have too many sexual partners, and there's this whole thing about, oh, if you do this, he's gonna think you this,
right?
He's gonna think you a hoe, and he's gonna think this, and so you gotta please him.
Yeah,
she's gonna have terrible sex because she's not gonna call him out on not pleasing her.
Right.
She's gonna lay there. He's gonna be fast and rough or whatever, and just do things to his liking, put her in these uncomfortable ass positions, and that's just gonna be it. Whereas if you have both people who have explored actual sexuality and went among the grain, you have people who know what they like.
Right.
Men typically know what they like. That's not really
right.
Not really. It's mostly catered to men.
Yeah.
But with the woman who has explored her sexuality, she knows that clitoris play is going to work for her. She knows that she can come more from head than actually internally. She knows these things. She knows how to get herself off. She knows how to guide because she's explored it. But there's so many women who haven't explored sex because they're told that sex isn't for them. Right. So they don't even know what makes them feel good. Yeah. Like there's women out there who don't even know what makes them feel good. They just lay there. So sex is whatever to them because it's not, what am I getting out of this? Yeah, yeah. And that's why I always cringe when I hear about like the African religions where they cut off the clitoris. I'm like, yeah, that's the most misogynistic thing ever. You're literally cutting off the pleasure source. Absolutely. When I had my magazine, we actually did stories on that because we were like blown by it. You're cutting off the pleasure source of the woman. Absolutely. That just makes me like explode. Yeah. Implode rather. Yeah. So it's just like one of those things like you have to explore these things to realize this actually isn't that bad. Right. And this actually brings a lot of, listen, people who fuck regularly are a lot better. Like, there needs to be a church of fucking a lot. Well, yeah, it's healthy. The glow that happens, yes. Like the natural well-being, the connection, the exchange of energy, like having really good, safe, healthy sex with someone. It is an amazing stress reliever. Yeah, whether you're in a relationship or not. Yeah. It's literally not even about being in a relationship. It's about just the care that goes into it. The fact that someone else wants to bring you to pleasure, you want to bring them to pleasure. Yep. Rather than you both selfishly thinking about your own pleasure. Listen, there is a difference. You got to go in and say, okay, I want to get you off, but I want you to want to get me off. Yeah. Not, I'm just trying to get myself off and using you as a human fleshlight. Yeah. Come on. And it's just, but it takes exploration and being comfortable with it. And I think that's why a lot of hookups and stuff go awry. Yeah. Because of just the shame. Right. And the feeling of it. And it's just like, you don't have to do that. Like, you can sit there and talk candidly about it. And you can. Just like, like let's take this to a new level. What do you enjoy? Right. Did you know this exists on my body? Did you listen? I talked to this before. I never forget the first time I was having sex with this guy. And then I took his hand and put it in me and was like, okay, reach up. And he felt my prostate. Right. Checking out. And he was just like, the way he was looking at me was just like he got like a cheat code or something. Yeah. He was like, I never would have fucking known that. I was like, why do you think people even bottom? Yeah. It's not. Listen. Listen. They don't know about that prostate, boy. Listen. It will blow your mind.
Literally.
And your load. Hey.
Listen, hey.
But I think like you can't be afraid of just exploring.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody. Yeah, there are people who are less sexual. It's not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
But once again, just like in religion, there's people who are sitting in churches who don't want to be there because of the sake of tradition and family, what they've been taught. It's the same with sex. People out here having boring ass sex or not enough sex.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or just, I couldn't imagine only having sex to get pregnant. Like, oh my God. So you mean this is followed by 9 months of me carrying something? Like, can you imagine being a woman? We only have sex to procreate.
Right.
And then like, here we go again. And then you get
another 9 months.
I would have a terrible view of sex too. Especially when women have the ability to have multiple orgasms.
Yeah.
Climax. That's why I don't get when you see men who are all like, man, women they ain't supposed to be out here like that. I'm like, if that were the case, they wouldn't have those functions. Right. Yeah. Dick wouldn't be shaped like a plunger to pull the other men out. But y'all don't want to talk about that. We won't go that far. We won't go that far because y'all are not ready for that. But the shape of our dicks is for a reason. It works as a plunger.
You better say they're not ready for it and then go to
you gotta sample.
Yes, sample.
There's a book coming out called Plunger.
Oh, yes.
Penis Plunger.
I'm done.
Have you been plunged?
Have you been plunged?
Rotor-Rooter.
Wait. Oh God!
I can't.
I saw the commercial and everything. Okay.
Rotor-Rooter.
Listen, I saw that little. No, I'm done. I'm done.
Yes. Sex is amazing. Enough said. We'll move on.
Yes.
So finally, because there's gonna be sex, religion, and then also not so much politics.
Okay.
But I do want to speak about canceling culture. Because this is big in our community.
Yes, it is.
And it's gotten to a place of like dangerous proportions.
Yeah.
It's like, if we decide someone's done, you
better listen, fall in line.
You better not speak to their humanity.
Listen.
At all. And I know you and I have talked about this too. We'll start with the light one. Okay. Chrisette Michelle. Compared to others,
listen.
She's done the least damage.
Yeah, listen.
She performed for the inauguration. Black community canceled her, quote unquote.
Listen.
And it's one of those things where you're like, is this
worthy of,
like,
come on.
And it's become you better not.
Right.
You better not. And I'm like, listen, let me tell y'all something. Better is a phenomenal album.
Yes.
And that shit is lit.
Yeah.
I'm not about to skip the song every time it comes through. And it's not me, like, the decision was very poor.
Right. Absolutely, yes.
Definitely felt a way about it. Like, girl, what's wrong with you? But it wouldn't be different than any other decision that a celebrity would make. Like, okay, girl,
listen.
It's a fall for you.
Yes.
But blacklist, cancel,
right,
making a mockery of her having a miscarriage.
Yeah.
Like, people really, and to this day, it's still very much like, no, fuck her.
Oh, yes. They have not let her back yet.
For simply singing a song.
Right.
And like I said, that doesn't excuse the action.
Yeah.
But we have to really, does the punishment fit the crime?
Right.
And that's my thing. Like, canceling culture has it, and it seems like it's like happening even more now. Like, now we're just looking to cancel people.
Oh, everybody. Yes.
Now? Well, who we gotta cancel now? Like, oh, they did this. But the thing about it is, I have a hard time canceling a Chrisette Michelle when an R. Kelly and Bill Cosby gets a pass. It doesn't work for me at all.
And that should actually be the end of the conversation. But there are people who will try to find ways around that.
Like
absolutely.
I have a hard time with it.
Yeah.
Why y'all still
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one's been convicted, but one's still out here free.
Standing outside the courtroom.
Right.
Listen.
But yet, y'all can hold on to that.
And I mean completely get rid of her. Years.
But there's countless of victims and people staring you in the face saying, hey.
He did this to me. Listen.
I stand next to another one, and another one, and another one, and another one.
And I sang at an event.
I sang at an event.
Listen.
But you make fun of her miscarriage.
Listen.
And her thoughts of suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just oh well.
Mm-hmm.
But you have on this side people that, I mean, and y'all still listen to Kanye West's album.
Yeah.
So, because once again, like I don't, like I said, I don't get the canceling culture. I just don't get it. People make badass decisions.
Yes.
And that's just it.
Yeah. I
mean, you can stop supporting like me. I skip R. Kelly songs all the time. I was on the way here, and I'm like, why are there so many R. Kelly songs on here? My God, you know what I mean? But that's also because he's hurt people.
Yes.
If you hurt people, I can't rock with that.
Right.
But an action that was meant to actually try to bridge a gap, it just went terribly
wrong. Yes.
It went terribly wrong. It was a bad decision on her part.
Yeah.
But hearing her intent, it was like,
her intentions were good.
Why are we canceling her?
Yes.
It doesn't make any
there aren't any conversations.
Sense.
Yeah.
Also, it's hard for me to cancel a Chrisette Michele when y'all still buying Clark Sisters and Kim Burrell albums.
Listen.
It's hard for me.
Come on now.
It's hard.
Come on. Then I already told you where you going.
These people outwardly said you homosexuals ain't shit.
Listen.
Fuck you. But Dorinda come here. Do all that shit. And they're accepted right back into the fold.
Yeah.
It's just hard for me. And I'm happy for people like you who isn't afraid to speak out about it. Right. Because you've talked about cancel culture a few times on the space.
I'm very passionate about it.
I appreciate that though, because once again, it's that balance. Yeah. And you can't be afraid for the sake of making everybody comfortable. Yes. Everybody wants to be comfortable in their hate and their ignorance, because that's really what it is. Cancel culture is not from analyzing anything. Right. It's literally like a majority of people just said this. Right. And we went along with it. So they half-ass read. Listen. And that's it. It was just like the IHOP thing. I was like, did none of y'all read the goddamn article? Literally, people like, fuck IHOP. I ain't never no goddamn more. This is stupid. I told Brandon, I said, I'm so happy. Marketing plan. I was so happy that I took it upon myself to do research. When I heard about it, I was like, okay, well, journalists in me, let me go ahead and look this up real quick. I came back to him and I was like, we need to talk about this on the show, because what the hell are they talking about? All you had to do was read an article and it explained to you that it was temporary. Notice the theme here. With religion, we said, all you got to do is just take a leap and look into other things and just see. With sex, explore, figure it out. Yeah. With this, just read. Just read the article. It's okay. Ultimately, this is what it comes down to. It's okay to leave the group. Yes. Yes. Seek things for yourself. Absolutely. Groupthink is dangerous. It's very dangerous, and there's a study on that too. And I need to actually look it up so I can quote it correctly. But it comes down to the whole survival of the fittest mentality. It's an anthropology type thing. Right. It goes back to when we were hunters and gatherers. And so what happens is when people disagree with you, or when you feel like you're not a part of a trend or a group, because trends are so popular. Right? Listen. When you're not a part of it, it's a fear that they don't know how to label. Right. It's this weird fear of being, if you're out of the loop for too long, you can be cast out, and then you'll eventually end up like by yourself. Right. That makes sense. And that's literally what happens. So, but I have to find the study because it's so good and it makes perfect sense. Yeah. Because back in hunter-gatherer days, you need a tribe. Yes. I mean, we still need people. Absolutely. Absolutely. We still need people, but we live in a world now where you can find people who are like you. Right. Whereas before, you just had your tribe. Right. And if your tribe didn't fuck with you, you're going to die. Like, legit.
Yeah.
You're gonna die because you were hunters and gatherers. You guys got food together. You healed each other together.
Yes.
And if you weren't a part of that, but now we're in a place where it's like, oh no, you're not my tribe. You're my tribe. You can find other people.
Right.
But we still have a mindset that it's supposed to be. It's for our health. That so when someone disagrees with you, the reason people are so crazy, people disagree with them because it's a moment of like, oh shit, maybe I'm not in line with what I'm supposed to be in line with. So I'm offended to get you to see. Because a lot of times people just want to be heard. Yeah. Because I've learned that when people disagree all the time, I'm just like, okay, I see you. That's all they want.
They want to be seen. They don't listen.
They're like, and I have to realize that. I said that the other day. I said something about, I think it was Ariana Grande video.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this video is dope. And someone's like, it's okay at best. I said, you and I are so different. He's like, that's why I like you. And I was just like, okay.
Absolutely.
You ain't shit, but
absolutely.
But that's true though. Sometimes we just want to be heard. Yes. And so I think when people disagree, it's not a matter of like trying to convince you that I'm right. I just need to convince you that I am actually a human. Right. And that I'm here. Yeah. Because you have to think from the mindset of hunters and gatherers, that means you can cast me out. I didn't even see that this is my point. And I think it's a beautiful journey of that. But that keeps us from exploring. Yeah. Not to get too far off. But that is the reason why, because I have several people who I'm friends with and people don't understand how the friendship exists because they're like, you're so different from one another. And I'm like, the reason why we're friends is because we see each other. And you'd be amazed when you can see someone, how that can help navigate through a lot of shit, you know? And I tell people, I'm like, you see him as problematic, but I see the deeper layers to who he is, you know? So that's the reason why we're good. We're good because I see what he's doing. We have conversations about it. I never have to hide if I feel some kind of way. I can say I don't agree with it, you know? But this person, he or she, they're not hurting anyone, you know? You feel some kind of way because they have opinions that don't fit yours, you know? And that's it. That's it. What it comes down to. Yeah. It's just an opinion. Very, very much so. To cancel someone? Right. For their thought process? Yes. You don't know, and this is a big foundation of who I am. I can't take your word if you don't know the origin of your word. Sorry, I fell off for a second. I felt that in my ricochet. Almost knocked your microphone over. I felt that. But it's true. Like, so much of humanity operates as puppets. Yeah. And it's like they're okay with it. Yeah. There's a pride that people take in not having to think for self. So it's like, okay, if we are all lemmings walking off the cliff, we then have a problem with you because you're standing on the side. Yeah. You know? And that's a perfect place for my favorite story that I told you. It's like when you are a sheep. But you're actually a pony. Listen. And then all the other sheep are looking at you like, why aren't you doing what we do? And you say, bitch, I'm a pony. Like, that's why I'm not doing what y'all doing. I'm a goddamn pony. Bitch. Do you not see this trot? Listen. Right. You be a sheep. They mad at you. Like, I was just seeing what y'all was having at the barbecue today. I'm right over here. Just want to check you out real quick, you know. I'm about to follow y'all. But, you know, and it's funny because, like, I talked about this the other day about trends. We fall so easy into them, and it's not even about if we want to do them. Right. Like, for instance, like, the everybody was doing the Shiggy challenge. Yes. They're dancing to that damn Drake song. Yes. And it's just like, wow. I mean, it's great for Drake in his pocket, so it's just like, oh my God, everyone's doing it. With the Cardi B childhood photo, everyone's posting that photo with their own thing. I'm just like, this is cool, but does everyone have to do it? Listen. But it's like a thing where you just want to be included. You want to be included. With me, I've always skipped the trends because I feel like it's overkill. That's me. I've always been like, well, there's enough people doing it. That's me. Why am I doing it? Remember the For the D challenge? It was like, everybody was just like, oh, I mean, I guess. Yeah. Like, it's cool. I enjoy watching you all do it. Absolutely. That doesn't mean that I have to. I never felt the need to do it. But I also have an issue with people who don't want to do stuff, once again, but still do it. Yes. For example, with this new feature on Instagram, the questions thing. I like it. I think it's cute. I've done it twice. Stop asking me if I'm single, if I want to go on a date with you. Jesus, I'm like, read previous message. Read previous message. I can only be so deep every time. Yeah. I'm trying to have these nice answers. So you right. So you see, I'm not being arrogant. Like, I'm trying to be like, well, you know, it's balance and mental health and awareness. You know, I'm trying to have some real, I'm not trying to be.
Right.
But then you like, if one more person.
Right.
But anyway, someone posted the other day and I was just like, this makes no sense. They were like, oh, well, since everybody else is doing it, let me do it. And I'm like,
I've seen a few people say that.
if you don't want to do it.
You don't have to do it. It really is that simple.
I don't want to ask your ass a question. You can't even think for yourself.
Come on, listen.
Where did you learn to be a follower? Where does your cowardice originate?
When was your last original thought?
Or should I ask one of the people you follow?
Listen.
If you don't want to do something, don't do it. It's the same. It's the same. And I know when you with Beyonce detractors, I've never seen so many people not like her but still watch and listen to every track just so they can talk about it. I'm like, listen, I don't like Taylor Swift, so you ain't gonna catch me. Justin Bieber, you ain't gonna catch me listen for what I don't like you as an artist. Why am I listening to?
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah.
So it's always weird, but it's like people want to be a part of the conversation. They want to be a part of the trend. It's like, I don't like her, but everyone's talking about it.
So I need to find my way in.
I need to find my way in. So it needs to be a negative way, but it'll be in nonetheless. And I'm like, why?
If I say the opposite of everybody, you're definitely going to see me then. Yeah.
But it's just like, just why? Just don't.
Just don't.
Just don't. Because here's also, I don't expect positive opinions from biased people.
All right.
If I know you don't like Beyonce, you think I'm looking for a glowing review from you? That's what kills me. That's what kills me. If everything you post about you hate somebody,
right?
You think I'm just like, oh, let's see what he gonna say today.
Maybe today's the day.
Of course you're gonna say it's trash because you've said it for the last 20 years.
Yes.
And so don't be afraid to have your own voice.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to seek out things that might not be a part of popular opinion.
Yeah. Original thought is paramount. But seriously.
People are afraid of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. People don't, and that's the entire journey of self, you know? People fear getting to know who they are because if they get to know who they are, they have to unearth that trauma.
Or if they don't like who they are.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because you can love yourself but not like yourself at all.
Man.
Listen.
I love myself, child.
Come on. I take myself out. Listen, let's have
I beat it up all the time. I gotta let me know. It's my ass. I gotta let me know. This my shit. Okay?
beat it up all the time.
Listen, I gotta, I be getting out of line sometimes. I gotta just take me in a room and you let them know.
You gotta get yourself together real quick.
I gotta let me know sometimes. I be getting out of line. I make me some tacos. I clean my place up, to show appreciation for that good ass.
But no, like real talk, before anyone else, I am my best friend, which is the reason why I don't just accept anyone in my life, And that was a journey. I haven't always been this person, There was a point in my life where I said I had 8 best friends all at once. And it got to the point where, and that was the end of that chapter. Once that finally came to an end, I was like, oh, because my journey has always been, I have never, I've talked to you about this. My deepest trauma has always been not being able to trust. And that all has come from friends who have done me wrong or those who I assumed were friends. So that's something that to this day I battle with. But I'm doing my best to finally claw out of it. And a lot of it is because I love myself. I enjoy my own company.
You make better decisions.
Listen.
And I think that really comes down, especially with relationships and stuff. The reason I am the way I am is so easy to be like, yeah, no, I'm not holding on to this, not dealing with that person.
Right.
You gotta cross me one good time.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
It's because I respect myself too much. Like, if your energy's fucked up,
right,
why would I allow you into my space?
Listen.
What sense does that make? So maybe, that's another study. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the trend following is because people just don't trust their own voices, don't trust their own
absolutely
intuition. But if I don't like this, I don't like it.
Yes.
And that's just that. And I'm cool with that. That's why the Janelle Monáe song, I like that. Because she's just like, I don't care about what everybody's doing.
Something about not being a part of the whole makes people very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
When there is so much beauty in individuality.
There is.
So much.
On the flip side, it doesn't mean be a fucking contrarian, because y'all annoying too.
Can't stand them.
People who literally everything is just like, y'all like it, I hate
Right. Right. Oh my God. I know people like, and to be completely honest, I'm probably less likely to date a contrarian than I am the people who go along with everything. Because I'm like, I can't. You just hate everything.
Yeah.
Everybody's dumb.
Right.
Everybody.
Everybody's dumb. Here we go again with this stuff. Y'all out here breathing.
Right.
Y'all out here taking showers. Y'all are some bandwagoners. Just can't think for themselves.
Listen.
God.
You got to bring everybody down. Everybody.
Like, it does not matter.
Yes.
And so there's balance.
Listen, there we go.
Just have some balance about yourself. There's nothing wrong with being like, yeah, validation's cool. Like,
Yeah.
it's cute. Like in a group, like, oh yeah, we all agree that
Right.
you know, the Lakers are this or they.
Right.
That's fine.
Yes, Lakers.
But don't.
I'm sorry. I had a
did
moment.
I did peep that. I did peep that.
Had a moment real quick.
But at the same time, you shouldn't crumble
Right.
if you're a fan of something else and people aren't like that. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's cool. Because we're all different for a reason.
Listen, for a reason.
We all have different tastes for a reason.
How do you learn? Going back to the beginning, listen, this is full circle right here. How do you learn? How do you grow if you don't allow yourself to have original thought? If you don't step outside of the group and go and explore and learn, how can you? I don't understand. Like I couldn't wake up every day making a decision that I'm going to just follow everybody.
Yeah, but this is why I hate the phrases. I'm old school.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't raised that way. That's not how I was. That's how I grew up. I'm like, all those things are at the hands of other people.
Right.
Where did you take over?
Yeah. Cool. Come on.
Like, as an adult, you take over.
Yes.
So what did you explore for yourself? And some people are like, well, you know, I'm like, but you actually think about what this means? Like,
Yeah.
You actually think about the implications of this and all of these thoughts?
Yeah.
Well, I was taught, you know, a woman who did this, you were taught wrong.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Like, and it's okay to take over.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to have original thought. It's okay to go against the grain.
Yeah.
And find, because that's how new ideas are pushed.
Yeah.
That's how change is made. That's how we got to where we are with gay rights,
Yeah.
women's rights, and everything that we have a long way to go, but we still gotten further than we were even a decade ago.
Yeah.
It's a progress, but it's because people went against the grain. And we constantly just went with what people said. We'd still be called perverts and everything else. And it's just like, what? Like, women would still only be married by, like, arranged marriages, couldn't get jobs, couldn't have their own divorces, domestic abuse. Like, it's because people went against the grain and said, no,
Right.
I'm a whole ass human.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you need to treat me as such. I'm not below you. I'm not above you.
Come on.
We're both sitting here being people.
Yes.
And it's okay to go against the grain.
Absolutely.
Because where can people walk with you?
Yes! You rock for that. You rock for that. Yes. Okay, so you can walk with me, Scorpiogi, across all social media platforms. That's SCORPIYOGI. You can also walk with the Healing Space on Twitter at _THS Podcast and on Instagram at THS Podcast. The website for the Healing Space is thspodcast.com. We air every Tuesday. We are on everything from Apple Podcasts to Stitcher to Overcast to SoundCloud, a bunch of different places. To check out our live shows, which are every third Thursday of the month, you can go to our YouTube channel, which is Revolution LLC. And this is Minority Mental Health Month. So a lot of our episodes this month are focusing on that. So actually, when you're listening to this, the episode that premiered yesterday was Minority Mental Health Part 1. And we're going to have 2 more episodes coming up about that. So definitely make sure you give us a listen and let us know how you feel about the show. We greatly appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, he said that off the top of his head. There is no prompter. There is no legal pad. Like, he literally just sat up here and gave y'all all of the tea. Enunciation and all. Podcast. He gave you all of it. But, so you don't have to get your pen and paper. All of this information will be in the show notes as well. So you can click a link and make it to the podcast. As always, thank you all for listening. Make sure you subscribe and share the show and do all that good stuff. And I will talk to you all next week. Peace out.